In a world where small and medium-sized businesses often find themselves navigating the challenges of growth and efficiency with limited resources, how can the power of artificial intelligence be harnessed, not just to level the playing field, but maybe even transform their operations? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to be speaking with the Director of Product Management for AI at a company called Vcita. And they're at the forefront of bringing AI-driven solutions to SMBs. And today's guest and his team have embarked on a pioneering journey with the creation of BizAI, which is the first AI-driven SMB business advisor. But with the landscape of AI continuously evolving and skepticism among some small business owners, especially when it comes to the application of AI in their operations, I want to learn more about how exactly Vcita plans to break down these barriers and how are they going to unlock the potential for AI for SMBs and help them see the value that it can deliver. But before we get today's guest on, I need to pay the bills. We've got a huge podcast hosting fee to pay for when we're releasing 30 episodes a month. And this month I've partnered with a company called Kiteworks. Now, legacy MFT tools are dated and lack the security that today's remote workforce demands. So companies that continue relying on outdated technology, though, they put their sensitive data at risk. Well, enter Kiteworks, the beacon of security and efficiency in managed file transfer. With its FedRAMP moderate authorization awarded by the Department of Defense since 2017, Kiteworks sets a new standard for security. And this certification is not just a badge, it's a promise of unparalleled protection for your data. So please, step into the future of managed file transfer with Kiteworks. You can find out more information at kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to get you started today. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Tel Aviv, where we're going to discuss the unique challenges SMBs face and how Vcita are working to demystify AI, making it a powerful ally for businesses everywhere in the world. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Hi, I'm Ram Almog. I'm a group product manager from Vcita. What we do is business management software for SMBs. We're selling both direct to the SMBs and through partners. Vcita is our SMB-facing brand, while In Tandem is our brand for the official partner platform. So we're selling on both channels. My group, we call it internally Showbiz. And what we are doing is we're in charge of partner enablement, data, and AI. A little bit about myself. Before I came to Vcita, I had my own product design agency for 16 years, along with my two partners and a small team. We are helping companies like Vcita to do better products. So the life of an SMB is something that is very close to my heart. This is where I come from. And a few years ago, I sold my agency, and now I'm here at Vcita having fun.
Fantastic. And there's so much to unpack there. So I'd love to find out more about the origin story. I mean, what inspired Vcita to venture into AI and specifically to develop BizAI as this solution that is tailored for small to medium-sized businesses around the world? But what's the story behind it? There's got to be one, right?
Well, yeah. So the break of generative AI in the past year has been overwhelming. So everybody is aware of it. It made a lot of things we would imagine that we just imagined can be possible, just became possible, and they're a click away. And very early on, leadership here, we figure out that the mobile revolution, like the mobile revolution, this is something that will have tremendous impact on how people use software. So we don't look at it as just, hey, there's a new AI feature we can implement. We are looking at the coming years of significant change. If we think mobile, everything is different now. You can't imagine a software without a mobile component into it, right? So we believe the same thing will happen to AI, and there are going to be significant changes to how users expect the machine to behave. We expect the machine to understand us. They should understand the context we're acting. we expect that all the busy work will just be done by itself, right? That something that these are trends that already happened, but now with AI, they are like very, very present, and that thing ignites the way we think about what we're going to do with AI. That's our inspiration. And then people will interact differently. So we expect intensive automation. Everything will be expected, or parts of the user experience will be automated. And we're constantly going to get context-based suggestions like pre-fills or default, whatever we do. We're going to expect, and this is something that already happened, is really exciting, the conversational interface, where we've been used to really limited experience, where we just talk to that agent and we wait till we can say, well, I want to talk to a human, right?
Yeah.
That was our experience, and that's going to change. One of my friends said, ChatGPT is now my best friend. He's more intelligent, more educated, knows so much. I have good time talking to it. It's a very different experience. And what we learn about it, that very, very different from what we're used with software, where you click and things are done and they're finite. With AI, refinement is the key. So it's like working with people. You say something and they give you feedback, and you understand they kind of understood what you said, but you need to give more feedback. So refining is something that is also part of our vision. And all of these goes into different experience we need to weave into what we now have, which is a CRM, where people are used to form-based kind of experience that takes you through efficiently takes you through processes. Now people will expect it to be a conversational, say, I want to get new leads, and it needs to, you can send a campaign. And then there's the generative content itself, which is going to change how people generate content, because most small businesses, they hire somebody and then they're pretty frustrated because it's really hard to do marketing. And now they can actually have pretty decent step in, getting from the machine. And that's going to revolutionize how people are generating content. But with all that like exciting stuff, we also know that most of these revolutions kind of overlook SMBs, because the market, like you would think like telco companies, they have endless resources, and it's worthwhile for an AI company to invest time in learning their behavior. They have a lot of data. And what inspired us coming into AI is our opportunity to actually make this technology accessible and understand the really unique problems SMB has with this technology. And instead of making it a challenge, making it an opportunity. So that's how we're inspired to go into that as a huge opportunity to make a difference and make, SMBs are the essence of democracy. I really look at that. We have to preserve that. It's kind of our mission to enable that kind of model. And the world is going through consolidation in really huge companies, but you want to go to your local barber and get a service. That's an experience that is important to our well-being, and we need to enable them to compete, to keep their unique identity. And we want them not to be left behind.
Well, I was just going to say, there's so much hype around AI at the moment, and I'd love to maybe put AI to one side just for a moment to talk about the challenges, the problems that SMBs are facing at the moment, and fully understand that, especially around leveraging their data for growth, etc. So before we talk about AI, can you just tell me a little bit about the problems that you see small to medium-sized businesses facing at the moment, and how you're helping them address some of these specific hurdles too?
Sure. So whenever there's a new technology, SMBs are facing both challenge and an opportunity, right? Yeah. Mobile is a challenge, but also an opportunity. So On one hand, it's very difficult for an SMB to spend resources and time to learn that new technology and how to help them. And in many cases, the technology is built for higher tiers. So let's say, like I was talking about telco, like let's talk about IVRs, answering machines. So the technology available is very advanced for these, but for small medium businesses, it's not a business opportunity, so it's overlooked. Now, specifically with data, SMBs are really challenged on both their data sample and the quality of how they collect it. You don't have so much data entry points in a small medium business, and also they are not investing enough, or it's really difficult for them to invest in collecting the data in structured manner. So I may control my customers, and I'm fine with it, but I'm not necessarily documenting everything, counting everything, making all that data available. And we don't have for AI a lot of data to learn from. And in many cases, it's not optimized or structured. But on the flip side, the advantage of SMB, they're not bound to heavy infrastructure. So they can do changes pretty rapidly. So once they adopt, they can be ahead of the curve. They can have a very steep learning curve. They can adopt that and just use it. They don't need to train a lot of teams. They don't need to get rid of legacy software. So there's the challenge, which always comes with an opportunity. So I'd like to take you through some strategic decisions we made with AI, and then talk about how we address the challenges, because those decisions came from that understanding that adoption is a challenge for them and data is a challenge for them. And what we're looking at is how to cut short the adoption, explain the value, and then make everything accessible. So really, really on the get-go, we made 4 major decisions. What we understand, and goes back to your previous question, AI is not a feature. It's a definition of experience. And we set a strategic goal that in 2 years, all of our major models will include AI as a substantial component of the experience. And that's when you take a product team and you set them a metric that ensures that they will be focused on that. And my team focuses that other teams will implement AI into their system. So we need to build our technology in a manner that will make it easier for other teams in the company to implement and make it part of the essential user experience. But that's why we formed my team of that is Tango with data and AI. And then another strategic decision was to realize that we don't know anything yet. Because until you bring something to your customers and see them work with it, you assume, you just don't know. So what we created is BizAI, which is it's like an advisor, a consultant, something I'm very familiar with because I was a consultant so many years. And it's a smart engine. It's based on OpenAI, and it's also, and we put it up really, really quickly. It's basically OpenAI. And we put it in front of our clients as part of our system. And this is our playground. So when I'm talking about challenges, when we started, we didn't know. We actually didn't know the challenges. We know the high level, adoption, right? Data. Now, for us, data is an opportunity because we have the data. We are a CRM. We know everything about the business. But for creating the product, we had to assume we don't know all the challenges. So one strategic decision was to move fast and learn as we go and understand the challenges. And we found out a lot of things we didn't actually know there are problems. A lot of times you think of the user, you make the mistake that you are the user, right? We relent the users, and we put that in front of them. They didn't understand the value at all. We put ChatGPT in front of them and say, hey, take it for free. And they were like, okay, that's nice. They just didn't understand how this thing is relevant to my business. And then we understood that they don't, like, as a first step challenge, they don't understand what kind of value this is and how it's being used. And when we did user interviews, we said, hey, here's the sample prompt. We had like sample prompt, and they used it, and then they just gave them a generic answer. They say, well, I can't use that. Mm-hmm. And then said, well, you can talk to that and ask for a better result. And they said, oh, we didn't know that. We didn't know you can actually ask it, refine your answer. And then they say, oh, this is amazing. So we are unfolding, and I think we're in the really early stages of this, although there are like an amazing adoption curve across, and there are millions of people using it. Small, medium business owners are very, very busy surviving, and you need to bring it to them very, very close. So that was challenging. The other challenge, and I think it's a challenge for them, but also the challenge for us to invest that time and know everything. So the last strategic thing we decided is that we're not going to work alone on this, and everything we develop is now a platform. So all of our partners and third-party developers are also coming into that. This answers the challenge of we can't know everything. We can't know all the challenges. The biggest challenge you have is that you don't know the challenges. You unfold them. They're privacy challenges. They're differentiation challenges. They are, what is my unique voice? How do I do that? All of these are regular challenges of business. How do I get leads where all of the internet is now filled with generated content? Everything looks the same. How do I stand out? All of these are challenges that emerge as we go because the revolution is still unfolding.
And as you mentioned there's a lot of people that didn't see the value that generative AI could bring to their business, or how relevant it was to their business. And there is a certain amount of skepticism around AI, particularly among SMB owners. So how are you at Vcita? How do you approach these concerns and demonstrate that tangible value of AI within their operations? You gave a few examples there. I just wondered if you could expand on that for me to help them understand the value that it can bring to their business.
Sure. It's I think the bottom line when you look at those skepticism, and it's a lot about fear.
Yeah.
It's a lot about fear. It's a lot about not understanding the underlying value and how can this thing be good for me. Usually when you have your reality, which is not easy always, but you think every change is going to be for the worst because you know the present.
Yeah.
So this is something that you need to address when you design. You need to understand that although you're on the other side of a chasm and you're like shouting, hey, it's great out here. But the guys on the other side, they don't believe you. They see the chasm. They don't see that. And you need to not tell them how wonderful it is. You need to show them the way that you went through. And one thing I mentioned is the way we do it is by experimenting and talking to our users. That's the first thing. And when we do that, we always listen to these opportunities coming in a form of a question saying, I wish this would be done by, I wish, I want, I don't want to. All these sentences that mark the product opportunity. When you talk to the users, you train yourself to listen to that. If you listen to that, you know what's the end goal. They don't care that this is AI. They just want to run their business. They want to do, why did they open this business? Because they love doing what they're doing. I love product design. This is why I had my own business of product. I just love that. But I don't like doing a yearly review, tax review, right? I hate that. I wish somebody would take that away from me. So the first thing is I listen. I listen to these challenges when I talk to them. And I assume they don't care about the technology. Also, one thing that is really important for an SMB to understand in the mind of an SMB, they always think they're unique. And they are unique. Okay, so we are looking at, so there are home improvers, right? These are a bunch. But when you meet them, each one of them, they fix different houses in different neighborhoods. They have their own employees or no employees. Each one of them is a unique case. And they don't believe, and justly, that there is a one solution. So you can't give them business advice without understanding them. So what we're doing, and this is one idea we had from the conversation, is we trained our bot to ask questions. I remembered when I was a consultant in sales calls, I used to ask a lot of questions. A good measurement for a sales call is if you speak 5% of the time and the client speaks 95% of the time.
Yeah.
They come out of the conversation thinking we want more of that. And the 5% is asking them questions that they didn't think about asking. What's your target audience? What do you want to achieve? What's your goal? So we trained the bot not to answer, but to ask questions before it answers. And that gives a good feeling for the SMB owner that this technology actually listens to me. It's not about only output. Yeah, I can output a business plan, but if I didn't answer, I didn't spend time. And while answering the questions of the AI, they already have value. So I was used to selling like that. I know how well it works. I have something in my back of the mind. I want to sell, but there's a lot of skepticism. I was running design sprints. It's a 7-day process where you fix all the big problems. Okay. Just oversimplifying it. But people are coming into the conversation. They don't believe that you're going to solve their problem. But when you ask them the questions, they realize how much they didn't think about the problem enough. So this is one thing that we overcome skepticism is by asking questions. That's like the key thing. And the second brick is having the AI part of the user experience. So having an agent is our playground. We send users to that just to learn about what they actually want and how they use the system. We record these sessions and we look at them. And when we understand from user interviews and how they're using it, what's the actually bottom line problem they want us to solve. But the actual implementation is part of the user experience. I'll give you an example. You create a new service. You want a description for that service. Fine. Then you want a smart text field that can just generate that. And you don't want to open an agent, answer a few questions and get that. You want that as part of your intent. And this is how they understand the value. Oh, this is something I used to do manually. I didn't want to do it. I'm not a content writer, but I know I have to. Oh, there's a button, and that's a magic. He just took my title and added this. And also it understands my business because it knows all my data. It knows my pricing. It knows what I'm doing, what's my service, other services, and it can be coherent. So the third brick around it is not only that it's in flow, but it's also in context. And I think this is the biggest thing in our in our technology and the way we implement it is that we incorporate their own context. We know what they do and we use it with the generative AI. It's always operating in their context. This is very different from a ChatGPT, where they need to keep telling the bot about themselves. They don't need to do it in BizAI. We already know. And then we make it intelligent. And if the user asks about products, we just fetch the products from the database. And now the conversation is in context, like an advisor. If a good advisor doesn't know anything, you just ask them and gets that data. So ChatGPT can do that, can't do that, but we can. That's what we did. And just a tip, they don't need to know it's an AI. They just don't need to. It's sometimes we're not selling it. This is the magic of AI. No, it's just, you want to create a meaning? Sure. Tell us to create a meaning. Here is your meaning. You don't need to say this is an AI meaning.
Yeah. So just to bring to life what we're talking about here, with BizAI, you promise actionable business advice that is derived from unique business data and indeed market insights. But to bring that to life, are there any success stories or use cases that you can share that will just help people listening wherever they are in the world how BizAI can significantly impact an SMB strategy operation or operations? Because it's great to hear you talk about it, but I'd love to bring it to life with some real world use cases here or success stories if you're able to share them.
Sure. So really one of our early experiments, we released this and then we did some user interviews. And one of the features we had is give me some consulting about my pricing, like do a research, benchmark research on the market and just tell me how am I doing in terms of pricing. And just when that interview, a user told us that she used that and the bot said, well, you're charging $100 for your services. The benchmark is 100 to 250. And so it gave a range. It didn't say, and you're pretty experienced. And the bot said, you're pretty experienced. So I think you can go up. And she said, well, I increased the prices to 150 and nothing happened. Just everybody said, okay. So we just increased her earnings 50%. And if you go back behind that story, she didn't need the actual data, the actual really, really thorough analysis. She just needed the confidence, somebody who say, well, it's okay. A lot of people are charging more and you can go up. And the biggest barrier for a small business is to raise prices is their fear. It's going to hurt their business and they're going to hurt their clients. The conversation are like, oh, I'm sorry, we had to raise them. But just having someone say, hey, it's okay, try it. It's a big thing. One thing about generative AI, which you need to understand is it's very good at giving you non-accurate answers. When it goes into really, really accurate answers, it's not that good. It's not yet that good. So when you integrate it, you want to think of, is that a critical thing I want to impose on a generative AI, or is this something we want to solve really, really thoroughly? Because it's a magic, but also has its risks. So you need to understand that. Another story is about a user said, hey, she did a campaign. We asked her, how was it? How was the campaign? And she said, well, actually, I didn't like to do it myself. I was hiring people. I was telling them what to do. And eventually I was doing it myself. So it cut short the time of hiring somebody, firing them and do it myself. I just asked it to do it. I fixed it all and there it is. So it kind of saved her like a huge cost, huge frustration. And this was, I have to say, this was our early experiments. Now we're seeing really high level of adoption of just all the flows, like pricing flows, and service. We see it all over. People are using it. They're really happy because it's part of their flow, and they just, we can just skip a lot of stuff we used to do.
And content generation now is such a crucial aspect of the digital presence of any business in any industry. So is there anything you can share around how at BizAI you tailor content generation capabilities to reflect the unique identity and voice of an SMB? Because again, as you mentioned, ChatGPT does have a fair few problems. We've talked about the hallucinations and that one size fits all. So I'd love to find out more about you with BizAI. You focus more on the unique identity and voice of an SMB. That feels quite a standout feature.
Yeah, that's a challenge. That's an ongoing challenge.
Yeah.
And there's now and there's where we plan to be.
Yeah.
But already, like the first thing I already spoke about is training the model to ask intelligent questions before it answers. So it generates its own context. What we're working on is actually saving the answers and not having them to answer again questions they already asked. But just having the bot ask intelligent questions already, and you can ask ChatGPT to do that, but you need to know to ask it. You can say, ask me a few questions. You can ask it, but most people are not prompt engineers. So everything we did was, we are giving a title, like created an email campaign. And then behind the scenes, we have an elaborate prompt engineered section that makes the bot behave in a manner that makes sense to the business, especially answering intelligent questions, but also bringing answers from the data we already know. But those are combined. And we also know what we can do for the user. So we bring the data about the user, their booking data, their payment data. We bring that when it's relevant, and that's a unique thing, and that makes it unique. We look at things that they already wrote and try to mimic the style, but we also know what we can do for them. So we can say, well, they can ask, please create a campaign. And we say, hey, this is the campaign. This is the text. Click here to start. And we just make it happen. So some of these things I'm talking about are in the works. Some of them are already implemented, but this is the direction we're taking this. I was talking about there are like a range of challenges that we are solving on the way, like this, like you were talking about hallucinations. That comes from giving too much context.
Yeah.
And then the bot just forgets. So we're optimizing. We're saying, well, we can say this in less. And then we hand over less information, but more relevant. So all of this is a tango.
And I think last year there was a lot of excitement about Gen AI and how it was beating lawyers at passing their bar exams. And this year there's an increasing excitement about text to video, where you could just type anything and it will create a video about whatever you ask it to. And this technology is rapidly evolving. So I've got to ask, how at Vcita do you ensure that BizAI remains at that cutting edge and offering SMBs the most current and effective tools? Because it's moving so fast right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievably fast. And sometimes when I see new technology, I'm kind of sorry. Like, oh no, we have to deal with that. And also it seems like reality is sometimes evolving faster than the guardrails, and it kind of makes you worry. So we try to keep in focus on what's value for our customers, what real value is. But we put in place a few constructs that will help us understand what's valuable, take the things that are mature enough and predictive enough, and put them into the process. So one thing we did is look at AI as a core platform resource. Vcita is through our in tandem platform is not working alone on the value. All partners are also development partners, and we also work with third-party developers with our application marketplace. One thing, you have to have this humility of you can't be on the edge of everything all of the time, but you can partner with other that can be on the edge of things that make value to your customer. We already have three partners, AI partners, working with our AI platform to give services to our businesses. So it's not only on us. And wherever we solve a problem, like handing context or making the bot more intelligent, we open that to our partners. We don't expect to win alone. We understand that this is a vast world of opportunity. What is important is that our client won't miss the opportunity. And this is why we open this into a platform. What we focus on is context, is giving more context. This is the thing that we are expert in because we know what is going on. We know how to digest the context and hand it over to the AI. And if we have a partner that has additional context, we say, hey, you're welcome. Come in. We will hand over your context as well. If you have actions, things you can do for the user, let's tell the AI about it and promote your services. So this is the second the second construct we have is focus on the data side, on solving the problems, because the problems are what is relevant, how do we serve it, how do we make sure it's private, how we keep that, how we make sure it's legal, how we solve really, really big problems, but we don't have to solve everything. The third thing is just to move fast and experiment and be engaged with our audience. Listen to what they need. Look at things that takes them a lot. Look things that make it difficult for them to compete, and just answer these needs with our software or our partner software. Just fix that. That's it.
Love it. Collaboration between AI and human intuition is often highlighted and promoted as the best path forward. And I always personally believe that AI, when it complements rather than competes or replaces human efforts, that's where the magic happens. But how do you at Vcita envision SMBs balancing that relationship to harness the full potential of AI in their business practices and using it to complement the skills of their employees too?
So I go back to the metaphor of a consultant. I think AI that's a position. It's a consultant, a co-pilot. All words apply, all metaphors apply, but it's a sidekick to the business. We need to keep it that way. We never speak about replacing, and it's really, really surprising how well the language structure come out and everything. They solved amazing problems, like really big problems. But I don't believe this is a human replaceable technology. I can see how jobs will shift and people will need to adjust. I can see that. But there will always be a balance between somebody giving you a good service, which is not only the actual service. There's a lot speaking about how important the connection between a doctor and a patient. It's not only about the medicine you give. Family doctor listen to you and understand. Sometimes you don't know there is a problem, but somebody's looking at your eyes and say, there's a problem. And I think small business owners will not be replaced by AI. I don't think people are going around their town wanting to meet AIs. I think it's fun to interact. So I don't think that's a problem. And I will never position my software as a human replacer.
Yeah.
It's an efficiency tool. It's an enhancement tool. It's an opportunity to enable business owners to do what they like best, which is why they opened their business. If their business is still relevant and they like to do what they do, I think AI can enhance that and help them focus and do it better and reach more people.
And if we dare to look into the future, I know it's impossible with how quickly things are moving at the moment, but from everything that you're seeing, how do you see AI further transforming that SMB landscape? And what role do you think you guys will play in that evolution too?
I talked about it a little about the fact that there's always a risk that technology will do more harm than good. SMBs are more vulnerable than big corporation, but again, they're also more agile and easier to adjust. I think they're important to the society. They're the essence of democracy in the free market. This is how you build ideas. I think they're like an engine of capitalism, of creating new ideas, bringing them. It's big corporations find it difficult to innovate, and I think there's a really important role for SMBs in the world. I think our role in this is to give SMB an agency and give them agency over the opportunities and the fantastic technology. So I think that's the key word, agency. We're here to help them understand what it can do for them, remove the friction and the tedious work and help them grow their business and focus on things they love, things that made them open their business in the first place.
I think that's a perfect moment to end on. But before I let you go, I always ask my guests to leave everyone listening with one final insight, and that is a song that might mean something to you that we can add to our Spotify playlist, or a book that we can add to an Amazon wish list that other people can check out. But all I'll ask is, what would you like to leave everyone listening with, and why?
Okay, so I have 2 books. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so first book is The Power of Moments. It's by the Heath brothers. They have a series of excellent books, but this, I think, is the top one. It talks about the experience of a product, its customer experience, and how important it is to design highlights into the experience. You know, when you go to Disney, you don't remember the lines you stood in. You remember the rides, right? The highlight of the experience. You forget. We don't remember the average experiences we had. We remember the highs and the lows. So this book really fantastically outlines how to design and what to look for in an experience. I think leaders and product managers and people that create products or experiences will love this and find it really, really useful. I did really change a lot of the views on how to make products. And another book I really recommend called Continuous Discovery Habits by Teresa Torres. This was recommended to me by Marty Kagan. If you know him, is a product guru. So he recommended this to me. She writes about the need to constantly get feedback and listen to customers and how to do it. And she's very smart, and it's an easy read, but it can shift the way you think about how you generate those insights from listening, and how do you make it a habit to actually listen to your customers deeply and understand their underlying challenges and how to prioritize between what you're solving for them. I think both are talking about customer experiences from different angles. That's something I'm really passionate about.
Love that. Absolutely brilliant. I'll get both of those added to our Amazon wish list. And for anyone listening, just wanting to find out more about anything that we talked about today, whether it be Vcita or BizAI or anything in between, or contact you or your team, where would you like to point everyone listening?
Okay, so Vcita.com, Vcita.com. Okay, that's where you find information about the CRM Vcita, and you can sign up for our CRM, our direct channel, but also information about our in-tandem platform and how to become a partner. a partner with Vcita and learn a lot of what we do. Most of the information there. If you want to learn about me, you can go search for Energized Quartet on YouTube, where my band is playing.
Oh, you got a band. Oh, man, I'm going to be checking that out. Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's about me. But yeah.
Love that. And so much I loved about our conversation today, because yes, SMBs are often buried deep in that day-to-day operation and sometimes maybe lack the ability to just take that step back, see the bigger picture. So for me, just love talking with you about the importance of AI for SMBs. And while some business owners might be hesitant to use AI in their operations, it does offer uniquely beneficial, so many different angles there that we talked about. And just a big thank you for sharing that and your story. And I'm going to go now and check out your band. But thanks for sharing everything with me today.
Thank you. It was fun.
I think it is clear to me that the intersection of AI and SMB operations is not just a possibility. It's a burgeoning reality that holds so much promise. And with initiatives like BizAI, I think Vcita is not only addressing those immediate needs of SMBs, but also helping them to reimagine the future of business management, all through that lens of AI. And the journey of integrating AI into the fabric of SMB operations comes with a set of challenges. I don't want to make it sound too easy. I mean, there is that overcoming of skepticism to ensure the tech is both accessible and actionable, and also shine a light on the potential benefits, including time and cost savings, and how personalised business advice, enhanced decision-making capabilities, these all signal a bright future for SMBs that are willing to embrace this digital transformation. But yes, I am also left pondering the broader implications of it all. How can sectors learn from advances in AI for SMBs? What does this mean for the future of work and business efficiency? And obviously, I don't have the answers to these questions, and that's why I always invite you to join the conversation. Share your thoughts on how AI might reshape the landscape of businesses, whether they be large or small. So please email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilC.Hughes. Let me know your thoughts. Other than that, we've got another guest lined up tomorrow, completely different topic, and I invite you to join me on that discussion too. But thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.